What's going on, guys? It's Michael Gascon, the Horse Guru, back again, and I'm bringing you a series on control the head, control the horse, getting that horse's head down. With me today, I have Thunder. Thunder is a Friesian-Arabian, and he was classically trained, so he wants to have his head up all the time, and because of that, his head's always up, his motor's always on, and he likes to run away with people, run over people, things like that. So today I'm going to be using a German martingale to help me show him and communicate with him that I want him to put his head down. We know whenever the horse drops his head below his withers here, that it releases an endorphin that kills adrenaline. Well, Thunder here is full of adrenaline all the time, and it gets him in trouble. He was sent to us because his last trainer said that he can't be that calm, quiet horse, and his owner just wants a dead, broke, quiet trail horse. So to do that and help us with that, if we can show him how to move with his head down like that, we can make him a lot more relaxed and a lot more forgiving. So I said I have a German martingale. If you see, I have a set of split reins on them, and these split reins are a little special because they have 3 rings on them. And then I have a Y, so a piece of leather with a clip. This clip is going to go right under here to the middle of our cinch, and these strings are going to come through this snaffle here. I just have a D-ring snaffle on them. They're going to come through here, and I'm going to hook right back up to my reins. And what that allows is it allows anytime that I pull on the reins, the draw works first, the draw being the string works first. And then when the string runs out, then I have reins if I need them. I prefer them to be over tightened, if you will, because you can always give them more rein. So no matter how tight it is on the reins, even if they're slacking the reins here, if I give the reins, then it's not affecting him. But if you leave them too long, if you start by clipping them here at the end, well, very quickly, now your draw's out and you're just using regular reins. The whole idea of using the martingale is to show them where you want to put their head. So this is going to be the first time that he uses a martingale. He's already been through the Respect series, worked in a halter, worked in a snaffle. Now we're looking to put him in a martingale and show him what we want. Anytime that we do anything for the first time, just go back to first grade from the ground and show him what you want him to do. So I'm going to grab right here by the rein and ask him to walk a circle around me. This lets you know if your horse is going to have an adverse effect or if he's going to be taken back by it. Oh, good boy. So he's telling me that the steering wheel's working. Check the cinch one more time. Hop up in my saddle. All right, anytime that I put a new bridle, anytime I put anything that the horse might have an effect to, or in general, the first place that I'm going to go is to one side or the other. So I'm going to grab the reins in the center here and automatically slide my hand down the reins and bring them off to the side, like so. There we go. Just checking that steering wheel. Once I get him walking off, look how I'm going to walk off and take him off to one side. So he's a bolter, and he likes to run people over, run away with people. Anything that he spooks on, he wants to lock up in a straight line and take you for a ride. So what we're trying to do is get him fingertip soft down here and to the side so that he doesn't try those things. He's only been with us for about 3 weeks, and he looks like a completely different animal. The first couple weeks, just getting on his back, his head was stuck up here, and the problem with the horse's head being stuck is that means the steering wheel's stuck. So the thing I like about the martingale for folks is if you're using just this snaffle, you have to be ridiculous and keep your hands very low no matter what the horse is doing, because it's direct contact. So wherever you bring your hands, that's where you're bringing the horse's head. If you use a martingale, our natural human instinct is to pick our hands up. When I pick my hands up with this martingale, I'm still drawing his head down. So for a lot of folks, it will really make up for the human lack of timing, the human error, and we can make small mistakes in it, and the horse still gets the same idea of, hey, I want your head here. Once we see that he's walking off and he's soft, remember the two ways to find resistance so you can work on it is scare the bejesus out of him. That's our obstacles, that's our respect series. The other way is going faster. So I want to gain control of his head. I saw that he's giving me that steering wheel here at a standstill. Then I asked him to walk. Now I'm going to ask him to trot. If he gives me that, then ask him to canter. But the key is, my first priority in this session is that his head is down. First and foremost. So I'm not going to give him the reins, let him pick his head up, ask him to go, and then ask him to put his head back down. That's a great way to get into an argument. I'm going to say, hey, you're comfortable down there, stay down there. I'm going to put my hands in a way almost as if I'm drawing a line in the sand, say, hey, as long as you stay behind here, you're safe, you're comfortable. If you pick your head up, just because we're going faster, you're going to run into my hands. Even if it stops him, I much prefer stop him, get through the resistance, and try again, than to let him practice what I don't want, which is him going around with his head up like he would like to, because again, he has a history of him being in control of his head and then taking the rider for a ride. So we're going to sit back on our pockets. Notice how my hands are low. That's what I want to see right there. That my horse is behind the bridle. If he tries to pick his head up or look at a horse, I just touch a little left right there. So he's completely off of the bridle here, loose and easy, and that's what I want to see. We can flex him off center by touching one rein, and that pops his shoulder out. Getting that lateral control there. There we go. But the key to this, and the key with any kind of draw, is that you don't let them lay on you. So draw reins, a martingale, all these things, they're a double-edged sword. They do give you more leverage. They do give you more pressure. They do make the message very clear. But if you allow the horse to lay on them and they get hard to draw reins and hard to a martingale, it is very difficult to get them soft and respectful after that. But if used correctly like this, where I'm just touching him and releasing him, touching him, putting him where I want, and releasing him, you can really make a lot of headway in a short amount of time. So right there, there we go, he tries to pick his head up, so I bring him off center. So look how, even at this more extended trot, how he's still giving me his face. That's exactly what I'm looking for here. Now, down here, I'm gonna ask him to canter. So even at that canter, I want him to be soft. If he can do it at a walk, I know he can do it at a canter. But where people get confused is they think that they have to give the horse, the reins for them to canter. That's true in colt starting. But once a horse gets this educated, you want them to be able to walk, trot, canter, and give you the steering wheel. And ho. Good boy. So being able to transition up and transition down and keeping your horse behind that bridle, it's going to make your horse a completely different animal. I can't explain to you, just a couple weeks ago, how this horse would have been all over the place. Horses tied up on the outside of the arena, sounds, dogs barking, things like that. He would be looking for anything to spook at. And now, since he has to focus so much to stay behind my bridle, he can walk, trot, canter, and stay behind it. And using a martingale makes it very clear, very easy what we're looking for. As we're going around here, anytime he tries to pick his head up, he feels that pressure that's drawing him downward. Every time that he leaves his head alone and leaves it downward, he feels that release. He feels me giving him the reins. A couple pointers for getting that horse. This is how I would like him, downhill. We say, well, Michael, he's a dressage style horse. He's a classically trained style horse. You're gonna mess him up if you put his head down. Having his head up is where the resistance was built. and where he gets stuck. So even if the gentleman who owns him is in his mid-60s and just wants him as a mountain trail horse, but even if he wanted him to go back into the dressage ring, I've gotten a lot of dressage horses in my time that have come in because they start jumping fences or running away. I put their head down and train them like a reining horse and get them soft and easy. Then when you come back and pick their head back up, they do what you're asking because they learn how to move without that resistance. So even if tomorrow I wanted to pick his head back up, and he would be able to do that, with the difference, now we're in control of his body. Even at a high rate of speed, even cantering, he's letting me put his head wherever I want. So many folks have an issue guiding their horse at a high rate of speed. If you can't control where the horse's head is going, you're definitely not going to control where his body parts are going. So having the understanding of him being off the bridle and not pulling on me, him being on a loose rein and not pulling on me at walk, trot, or canter, it's so important, it's so vital. And the earlier we teach this, the easier your horsemanship experience is going to be. Couple tips for this. Whenever he starts tightening up, squeeze your legs to keep him going and hold on his face. If he tries to lay on it, you can open and close your hands here. The moment that, so say we're trotting or we're cantering, the moment that he drops his head, release the pressure of your legs and melt downward. I tell my students all the time, especially when they're working on slowing down that canter and getting that horse loping real nice and easy, I want you to melt down here and think about, you get the resistance out of his face and then your shoulders melt down into your hips. Tip number 2, if you sit back, exaggeratedly back here. When I sit back here, all the weight is on his rear end that picks up his withers. When it picks up his withers, what happens? If you were on all fours and somebody touched your stomach, that would drop your head. As we sit back over his haunches, the middle of him, his withers pick up, which makes his head want to go down. When we sit up and we sit forward, we push down on those withers, which makes the head want to pop up. That's why English horses have their head high and cutting and reining horses have their head low. A big part of it is just where the rider is sitting. So a horse like this that I'm trying to exaggeratedly take him from here down to there, one of the easiest things for me to do is before I set up for any transition, put his head where I want. There we go. And then from back here, I start clicking, I start kissing. Notice how I didn't lean forward to get him to depart. I didn't lean forward to depart him. I did not give him the reins to depart him. I said, hey, here's where I want you. Can you get there? And hold. The other thing that you'll notice is when they're behind the bridle and you're squeezing your legs to ask them to go, your stops will be so much better. Because opposed to him laying on you and you laying on him, and then when you want to stop, you pull on him harder, he's not touching your reins at all. You're mashing the gas pedal, and the second you let your legs off of the gas pedal, he'll stop. He had zero stop whenever he came. Again, for this transition, any transition, I put his head where I want first. I sit back. Right there, he tries to pick his head up just a little bit. And a lot of folks don't know what it looks like to be in the saddle and have a horse with his head down. Think if you were to pour water on your horse's withers, would it come off their nose or would it have to go over their neck? So what I mean by that, if I put water right here, right there, it's gonna roll down his neck. If you are just holding your horse's face down, the water's not gonna go over his neck towards his nose. So that means that he's giving you his face, but he's not really giving you his head. We really want that horse hanging from the last vertebrae here and his head down there hanging out like that. Your horse is most relaxed when they're eating grass in a field. If we can get them to move, walk, trot, canter like that, you're gonna have a lot calmer, a lot quieter, easier horse. If you do this with your horse, I promise you're gonna see a difference in how calm they are, how controllable they are, how easy they are, because every time their pole drops below their withers, it releases an endorphin to kill adrenaline. So if you work on that, you're gonna be thrilled with the results. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching.